All right, we are live.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Mike Bindrick with the Nevada Small Business Development Center, and today I'm being joined by Brenda Gayle Bryant from the Gayle Group in Las Vegas, Nevada. And today we're going to talk about how to be a good client for the SBDC. But before we jump into that, I was going to have Brenda introduce herself a little bit.
Look, thanks, Mike. For those of you who do not live in Las Vegas, it's actually pleasant today. It's under 100 degrees. So for most of us, that means that we have on coats and boots and scarves. And what does my company do? Well, I've worked with small businesses. I've worked with over 400 small businesses in the last 10 to 15 years, and I help businesses stay in business successfully, which is exactly what the Small Business Development Center does. So I have worked with the Small Business Development Center, coordinating with them, working with some of their clients, them sending me some of their clients, me sending them some of my clients, and me being a client for them or with them.
Very good. So as we talked about before, Brenda's dealt with the SBDC in many different ways. And one of the best ways, I think, if you've interacted with us as a client, you've interacted with us as essentially a customer, but you've also interacted with us as a resource partner, where we've been able to have you assist some of our clients and also do training for other of our clients, which is great. So we talked about how can you really be a good client when you come in to see a business advisor. What are the things that you need to do as a client to prepare for that first meeting when you come in to see us?
Well, I tell my clients before they even make the appointment to make up in their minds that they're going to listen and that they're going to do what the advisor says. Because if they've already decided that they know what they want, they know how the business should run, they really are just going into the Small Business Development Center because it's there, I ask them not to go. I want them to go with an open mind and a willing heart and be able to listen and assimilate the information that they're getting. So I have them actually write out what is it that they do. Some of them already have businesses. Some of them just have ideas and they're thinking about their businesses. But I ask them to write it out. And I tell them when they write it out, I want them to write it on the back of a business card or a piece of paper that is the size of a business card. I want them to say exactly what their business does, and I need the writing big enough that someone with real eyes could read it. So that means that they have to be brief, they have to be clear, they have to be concise. That's probably the hardest thing I have them do. And then when they go into the Small Business Development Center, I also ask them to have a list of questions that they want to ask. Are they in there asking for general information? You know, what kind of business entity should I be? How do I set that up? What's the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietorship? Any of those kinds of questions. I asked if they're looking for money. I asked them about how much do they have. Okay, so how much can you put in the pot? The more you can put in the pot, the more somebody else will help you fill the pot. So maybe the question may be, well, who do I go to? Who's actually offering money? What is the difference between going to a bank to get money and getting money from a venture capitalist? What happens if I get money from grandma? What do I have to do? How do I treat that money? How do I treat paying grandma back? Okay, so I want them to be very practical, and I want them to think from where they are. This is, they're not in grad school. This is not an exercise in theoretic understanding. It's not an exercise in coming up with different methodologies. This is really an exercise in, I've got a business idea. I want to turn this into a money-making business. What is it that I need to do? And I want them to be able to give as much information to the counselor as possible so that the information that comes back actually answers their particular needs.
That's a good answer. You know, we have clients that come in sometimes, and one of the worst questions I've ever had asked of me as a business advisor is, "Hey, Mike, what's a good business to start?" And I say, all of them, I guess. You know, whatever one will make you money. So that's a bad question to come in with, and most people do come prepared with some line of questioning for what they need. But I do have occasionally clients that come in and they just want to sit down and tell me about this grandiose concept that they have. And they don't necessarily have any questions, they just want to tell me about the concept and say, "Hey, what do you think?" type of thing. Which is okay, but it's not as effective as when you come in with some actual questions and say, you know, "I'm planning on doing this for my marketing. Do you think that that's effective for how I've planned this out?" Instead of just, "What do you think of the overall concept?" Because most concepts sound great on paper until you actually start down the road, and then you can see, you know, what kind of ugliness arrives during that project. But I would say also the one thing to keep in mind is that we don't do your work for you at the Small Business Development Center. What we do is we guide you and help you to find the answers that you need to be able to accomplish this yourself. We don't write business plans. We don't create marketing plans for you. We can point you in the right direction. We can guide you. We can read them and offer some advice and say, "Hey, you're on the right track here. This is good." But we don't do it for you.
And you know, when you said that some people will come in and ask you, "What kind of business should I go in?" I get that question also. And what I do is I actually give them an answer. I say, "What's your passion?"
Yep.
Okay? So if you can tell me what will make you get up in the morning with a smile on your face because that's the thing that you get to do all day, we can figure out a way to make money at it.
That's right.
But if you don't know what your passion is, then neither one of us can answer your question.
That's true, and I think most entrepreneurs are pretty passionate about what they're doing.
They have to be. This is too hard not to be.
It is. It's a tough road to go no matter what, and you have to love what you're doing. And I've met some that just don't love what they're doing, and you know, those are the ones I encourage to go get a job. You know?
Yes. Yes.
Or if you don't know entirely what you're doing, but you want to be in business for yourself at some point, I still say go get a job.
Yeah.
You know, if you think you have an interest in an area, go work for a business that does that. If you want to spend 80 hours a week for the next 15 years doing something important like that, yeah, I mean, you really have to have the desire and the passion to go after a dream like that, because it is hard. I mean, this is tough stuff. There's no safety net. It is what it is. It's entrepreneurship, and it's raw.
Well, I'll give you a couple of examples. I had lunch with a lady once who had retired from a corporate job, and I was working with her husband in his business, helping him he was moving in a different direction for the business, and so we were working on all those things that you do with the financial plan, the marketing plan, you know, setting up that division, etc. And she would come into the office every day. And the office was pretty cool and it ran pretty well until she got there. And she thought she was helping out. So she came in and she would tell, no, you don't do that, you do this. And she was kind of rough in the way that she spoke to the employees. And the husband pulled me aside and he said, is there anything that you can do to help me out? I live with this person and I love her. I cannot tell her you are driving all of us crazy and you can't come in here. And he says, of course, it only started happening when she retired. And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And I'm thinking, oh my Lord, what have I just gotten into? As you know, most small businesses have some kind of family attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not only dealing with the business part of it, but you're also dealing with the emotional part that comes with the family. So she and I went to lunch, and we're sitting and talking, and because we had both worked in the same industry, we had a place where we could start our conversation. And in the process, she said to me, I come in every day because I know how much my husband needs me. And I said, what do you really want to do? And she says, well, there's this little flower shop that's a couple blocks down from where we live, and I want to purchase it. The lady said that she wants to sell it, but I keep saying I'm not sure because I need to be in there with my husband. I need to give him the support, especially as he's trying to make all these changes. And I said, well, you know what? That's why he hired me. That's why I'm here. So let me tell you what I think you ought to do. I think you ought to go down to the corner flower shop and volunteer to work with the lady down there. And just work there and tell her, you know, you're seriously thinking about purchasing the business. Maybe you want to put in 2 or 3 months with her just volunteering so that you can see if this is really the business you want to be in. I said, and then if that's the case, I'll have him under control. You'll have the flower shop, and you'll have that under control, and I'll take care of telling him. And she said, oh, that's a great idea because I just don't want to let him down. I love him so much. I said, let me take care of it. So I go back to him, and I said, I think we're cool. I think your wife will be spending time at the flower shop. And he said, how did you do that? And I said, I'm a genius. He didn't buy it, but it didn't stop me from saying it. Okay, but sometimes it's, you know, when you're dealing with a small business, sometimes you have to dig a little bit beyond what's going on in the business and find out what's going on in people's lives.
Mm-hmm. That is the truth.
And a simple example is that I had a student, and the student said, I can't find a job. I don't know what I want to do. Now, this is a student who has been an adult for a long time, been in and out of a lot of jobs. Job market froze up. You don't have the ability to be in and out of a lot of jobs anymore. You got to find one so you can take care of yourself. So I said to her, I'm going to give you a simple little exercise that someone at UCLA, a professor at UCLA, gave me. And you take a piece of paper and you fold it in half. And on one half you put skills. These are the things that I'm really good at doing. On the other side of the paper you put likes. These are the things that I enjoy doing. Okay? So I want you to fill out this paper. I want you to put down the things that you are really good at. And I want you to put down the things that you really enjoy. I think what you're going to find is neither one of they don't match. Okay? We learn skills in order to do whatever the work is that is put before us. In many cases, we may not like the work that is put before us, but we get proficient at it because we need to keep our jobs. But we may like doing something completely different. So I said, once you do that, and she says, and then I'll bring it back to you. And I said, no, you'll tear the paper in half, the skills on one side, the likes on the other, and throw the skills away. She said, why would I do that? I said, because you need to concentrate on the things that you like. And once you can figure out what those things are that you like, then come back to me and let's figure out how you can make money at that. Let's see if there are some skills that you need to build to support the things you like. So she laughed at me and she said, you actually did this? And I said, yes, I went through a complete program at UCLA. And so she said, so what did yours turn out to be? And I said, I only had one like. I like to talk. And she said, well, how do you make money talking? I said, are you in my class? She said, yes. And I said, so how do I get the information to you? And she said, so you became a trainer. I said, yeah, people pay me to talk. Now then I had to go get the skills to back up what I'm talking about. I had to make sure that the information that I'm giving out is useful information so that you can take that and move forward in the direction that you want to go.
Nice.
So those are just two really quick examples of how I've used that to get beyond just the business and almost try to get into not just in their heads but into their hearts, to find out exactly what are people looking for, because in many cases people just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and along those lines too, a lot of business owners get into the process of, they start this business. It's really exciting in the beginning. You're running around, you're doing all the stuff you're supposed to be doing, and all of a sudden you find yourself not doing the thing that you got into business to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a quandary that many business owners find themselves in. All of a sudden they'll come in to see me and they'll say, Mike, business is going okay. I mean, we're making a little money, but still it's pretty hard. We haven't broken through to that next level yet. But I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah.
I started this business because I was insert whatever technical skill here, and now I do all the banking. I hire and fire people. I deal with HR issues all day. I don't know what else I'm doing. I feel like I am putting out fires. That's my job, is just to put out the fires.
Yeah.
And they say, and I dread getting out of bed in the morning because I hate putting out these fires. I'll sell this business for a dime.
Yes, I've heard that.
Here, I'll give you the key and I'll just walk away.
Well, and those kind of people you really do want to help, because they got into the business for a particular reason. Maybe it's because the skill that they have is the skill that they really love. I'm an auto mechanic. I love working on cars. But now that I have started this business, I don't ever get to go work on cars. I had a client that was an engineer. And when the business would become overwhelming, he would start going back to drawing. He would start going back to doing projects. And so when he started going back to doing projects and stopped managing the business, then the business got really shaky. So there's certain things that a business has to have. Whether you like them or not, they still have to have them. You still have to know how to sell your stuff to people. You can't sell your stuff to people if they don't know what you have, so you got to do the marketing. You can't make the sale without the marketing. You've got to manage your money, okay? Because you're going to have money coming in, you're going to have money going out. You have to manage that process. You have to manage the operations. Okay, so you've got to make sure that things are moving smoothly in the company. And if you only have two choices as a business owner. You either do it, you have to learn it, or you have to hire it. Those are your only two choices, because those things must be done. When you go into the Small Business Development Center and you're in that quandary, that's like, I really hate what I'm doing right now. I have turned into the reason that I started my own business, to get away from that job thing. And what I basically did was, I didn't build a business, I built a job for myself. And I don't like the job I built.
I picked up one of these small business development magazines. It's called like Small Business Opportunities or something like that. And it's all about all these potential little business ideas you could do or start. And this one particularly was under $500 businesses you could start. But honest to goodness, most of them were just a job. Mm-hmm. So you've gone from working for a boss to now just working for yourself in that aspect, not necessarily growing a business, but you've just created a job for yourself. And I think a lot of business owners kind of fall into that trap, right. And then they think, I'm being an entrepreneur, and it's like, well, kind of, sort of, but you're not creating additional opportunities. You're not looking at additional ways to grow your business. You're just looking to keep getting paid doing this one skill that you're trained to do.
Got to pay that mortgage, so I got to get up and I got to go, and that's drudgery.
That's
And
right.
that's the reason you said you didn't want to be in a job, that you wanted to start your business because you wanted to get out of that drudgery.
And now they're back in it.
Absolutely, and that's the reason I go for the passion first. That's exactly the reason that I push for the passion first. And in the businesses that I've been in, like I said, I've been in over 400 small businesses. Sometimes that is the hardest thing that we have to do, because I have to reignite that fire that got them started.
Yep.
And so if I can't get them back to that point where they feel that this is the joy, this is the reason that I got involved in this whole idea of having my own business, then we've got to sit down and figure out, is this where you need to be?
That's true. Well, on the flip side of that, too, I have some people that come in and they've got nothing but passion and no common sense.
Oh, gosh, I've never run into those before.
And so I say, I can tell you really believe in this, but I don't think anybody's going to buy this thing you're trying to sell. Or have you test marketed this at all? I mean,
a what? A test what?
A test market. Yeah, you know, it's like if somebody tells me I make the best cookies in the world, I'm so passionate about chocolate chips, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, I have clients that tell me stuff like that, and I go, that's great. You know, that's perfect. How many of these have you sold? I want to hear that you're selling these out of the trunk of your car. You know, that's not legal, but I'm just saying, I want to hear that friends and family have paid you actual money for your product, and that this is something you actually can have a market for. You can be passionate about a lot of things. I mean, I love to play guitar, but to turn that into a business, you know, is a whole nother thing.
So then, when they come in with that, turn that back around and now have them work on the skills that it takes to match that passion.
That's right. And a lot of them don't come back when we mention that. A lot of them say, oh, I'd have to be in school for a long time to do that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's right. To make it a business, that's the price you have to pay.
And that's what I like about the Small Business Development Center, is that's where you get your dose of reality. I love the fact that people have passion and that they have something deep inside of them that they think is going to turn into a wonderful business. I absolutely adore that. Now let's make it happen. Because, you know, as those of us who have lived through the era of Steve Jobs, who could make us want stuff we never heard of before, there aren't a bunch of folks out there like that. Most of us are doing what Ogilvy said, which is we're finding a need and we're filling it.
That's right.
Okay? And so if that passion is absolutely wonderful, I think that we should all have that passion for our businesses, because if we don't, our businesses are not going to go where we want them to go. But
Sure.
We also have to match that with the appropriate skills and knowledge that it takes to grow that passion into something that other people want to have some of.
I agree. That's terrific advice, Gayle. Well, I just want to say thank you very much. I appreciate your insight on this, and I would encourage anybody who listens to definitely, if you're looking to start a business or grow an existing business, that you go to visit the Small Business Development Center, or the SBDC, in the area in which you live. We have about 1,200 offices throughout the United States. In addition, there are additional resource partners with the SBA that are available, including SCORE. They're called America's Business Counselors, and it's free advice as well. In addition, we have the Women's Business Centers around the country, and plus we have a lot of economic development offices that are headquartered in cities and within states as well. So there's plenty of help that's out there. You just have to kind of knock and go looking, and you'll find somebody who can help you out. Any final words, Brenda?
I just say that when you go into the Small Business Center, go in with an open mind and be willing to learn and do. Learning is not enough. You have to add some action to it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now.